23 years today for my practice.
Congratulations.
So not bragging, but early on, one of the things I wanted was to be able to buy my kids cars when they turned 16. So that was a dream come true.
To do on the day that's my anniversary is stuff that I look forward to before I got to where I'm at. So cigars for me was kind of a sign of success. If you were lighting up and smoking a cigar, it must be big time. When I first started my career, literally, I was working for a CPA firm in Dallas, and we were on an audit, and we were at it was a trucking company, like they sold trucks, Mack trucks, like big old semis. And anyways, I got to go sit in on a meeting with one of the partners at the CPA firm. It's a big downtown Dallas CPA firm. And we're sitting with CFO, and he sits down, kind of a bigger guy, but, you know, had expensive watch, all that stuff. And he opens up his drawer and pulls out a cigar, puts it in his mouth, and had already been enthralled with cigars, had a few throughout college. And anyways, I was like, what? He's just gonna chew on a cigar? Like, that dude must be like freaking rich. So you'll hear more about that, but that's what got me to where in my practice every Friday, starting maybe year 5 of my practice, I would chew on a cigar, and then it turned into every day, and then it was $3 cigars to $3.50 to now if I'm gonna chew on a cigar, it's, you know, probably more like $6. But anyways, it just, now it's a daily deal, and at the end of the day, it's just part of that. Oh, I've made it. I'm chewing on a cigar. So this is where it all began, the plaza at Nichols Hill. When I first started, I rented a spot here. What that means, $25 a month, and we'll go there in a second, but it was a place, basically a mail drop, and I could use the conference room for $15 an hour. But anyways, I would meet right here. It used to be ground floor cafe. So when I would need to meet clients, I'd be like, well, hey, let's meet at my office, and we'll meet downstairs at ground floor cafe. And then just part of the story, I ended up, because I'm doing business with so many young kids like me, I would just tell them, like, they'd be like, wow, you have an office here? I'm like, well, and I'd tell them the story of how I got an office. This S.J. Haggard and Company is a high-end clothing store, and I was like, you know what? One day I'll be able to afford these clothes. So I did a lot of window shopping here in the early. I was just so proud to be in Nichols Hills because it's especially at the time, it was the richest zip code in the state, and just old school houses and old money. I don't know if it's still the richest, but it's still got to be a top 3 richest. But I was at 6440 Avondale Drive, 1997, and I was here for 5 years. Then I moved to downtown Edmond, but then I moved back here for a couple of years, and then I held a satellite office for a couple of years after that. So probably I have had an address here the longest of anywhere that I've been. All world just ran into a CPA that is still officing in this building, and anyways, just reminisced on a couple of quick stories. Gosh, Suite 200, 6440 Avondale Drive, Suite 200. I was so impressed. These doors, these double doors with the wood. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so majestic. Anna Shank was the longtime receptionist here, but for $25, basically I could get mail delivered here and come and check it. And then I could use the conference room for $15 an hour, which I think I only did twice. And then eventually I got a full-fledged office. No, everything's still the same other than artwork. Might be the same desk, but smaller than I remember. But the conference rooms were the built-ins, and I remember they weren't that full, so I bought a bunch of stuff and put it in, but still have those same books than when I was there. Oh, and I actually bought that little chest right there. Period of time, I had this office there, and then these were just individual offices, and then I had this office right here. They weren't numbered at the time, but anyways, I had this office here, and then good friend Michael Flores, he had this office right here. But my very first office was this little thing. So this office is this wide, and it was, I laid down, it was 8 feet deep, and landed clients in here. I remember I had a desk in there that I had gotten at Stowe's. It was used furniture, and sanded it down, and did a mahogany finish on it. And then I got a credenza, and I remember it was like $350 for both, and stayed up late and got it in here. And then I bought these 2 leather chairs that had like the pins or the tacks, the gold tacks, and I was like, oh my gosh, and they were used. And then I had a filing cabinet from Walmart. It was a 4-drawer, and boom. And I started my practice in May, and I got this office in the following February, and it was $175 a month. It was a big decision. The next office I had was this one here, and then this one here I commandeered. This one was just someone who was renting, who was just keeping an address here, had storage. It was actually a CPA, David, and he just had storage here of files, but he was just keeping an address here. And anyway, so it was tax season and the door was unlocked, so basically I put 2 interns in there from college that only worked like 5 hours a week each. And anyways, we were here working on a Saturday, the 3 of us. It would have been Brendan, my younger brother, and Nathan. And David walks in, I guess, to get a file, and he's like, what are you guys doing? And so anyways, Brendan came and got me, and I was like, oh my gosh, David, I didn't know that you were going to be really ever using it. And so anyways, he was gracious enough for tax season for a couple of months to let me use it, but it was straight up a closet full of boxes with then just this makeshift desk, and they sat side by side, and that office was literally like 8 feet by 8 feet with 2 people in office. The Schaefers hired me, the Rothwells hired me, Todd Goolsby hired me, all still clients, pillar clients. But I remember having to walk them all the way back here. And what's interesting is both the Rothwells and the Schaefers had babies. They had babies that they were in strollers. Aww. And the Rothwells, their oldest daughter just graduated college and just got married. And then the Schaefers, their older daughter's been graduated and then went into the armed forces. I want to say it's the Navy. And but I remember when they were bringing those babies down here, just crazy about that. So I remember when I came to get information and sign the lease, I had gone out on my own, but I had brought Chloe with me. And this was May 15th, so Chloe would have been like 3 months old. I remember she was wearing a pink outfit. And I said, right here, and signed the lease. Yep, and then I remember it was just like, oh my gosh, it's Nichols Hills Plaza. So this is the whole plaza. They've got restaurants and grocery store and clothing stores and places to work out, other professionals. It was just, it still is. It's just huge. Got Trader Joe's now. It's just the spot still. What's interesting is all these businesses that were in Suite 200 have moved out, because this is one that was shared offices with Access Financial. Then this, I'd come down here and there was a barber shop that I would get my haircut. But these are just some of the shops that are here. I don't know if they were all still here, but that was there. But down here also was one of my first clients. They kind of went more in just the catering business, but there was Scotty's. It was a restaurant, and it seemed like I ate here all the time because we traded out services, and then all the way down there was my barber. Still a high-end spot. Oh my gosh, it's like out a courtyard. And then one of my first banks at the time that was in there was Bank of America, but also had an account at Stillwater National Bank. So also when I shot the videos for trying out for The Apprentice, I was walking right here, talking into like one of those old school camcorders. So just got off the phone, had a phone conference with Tony and Todd. These are now the three of us are the board members of B4B Cares. Go to b4bcares.org. But just kind of neat that here on the 23rd anniversary, we're literally breathing the final life into this foundation that Tony, who we've become fast friends through social media, through my YouTube channel. And he was the one that wrote me and said, hey, with what you're doing, we want to continue this, and here's a way that we could do this. If you can set up a foundation, you run it, I'm going to put some seed money into it, and let's set up the board. And so anyways, we got Todd, who's a great friend. You heard me talk about it earlier in part 1. And so anyways, just kind of neat on the 23rd anniversary of my practice that we're literally now officially all the way, boom, full board of B4B Cares to
Yay!
help businesses across the U.S. So now we're at 2224 Ridgeview Boulevard, and the best thing about this is that I own it. So I've given everybody the day off, and if you saw an earlier video, you've probably seen my office before, but anyways, conference room, and at about 2:45 each day, and then all day Saturday and Sunday, there's a fountain that comes on, and really love these offices. I'm not bragging, I just feel really thankful. And thankful to my clients that make all this happen. So I won't do a big tour, just very, very thankful. And 23 years, that's crazy. But when I started my practice, it was because I didn't want anybody telling me when I can spend time with my daughter was really what pushed me over the edge. But I knew my sophomore year in college, my first day of my first accounting class, 101, that I wanted to fully follow in the footsteps of my grandfather. And I have. And I know that he would be proud, and be awesome to bring him in and show him this. And then my stepdad, quite a history there, but all good in the end. But he loved cranes. His last name was Crane. But there is a crane that visits very often and comes and hangs out about right there. And what's interesting is, and of course, it's all up here, right? Just the coincidences that we like to find. But there's just been a few key times where I've been thinking about something, something kind of serious or contemplating something, and then I'll look over and there's that crane sitting there, and then it'll take off. But when I first came in here with Amanda, we were looking around at office space, didn't know if I was going to buy or rent. But anyways, I was right in this room, hadn't bought it yet, of course. And I said to Amanda, I said, I think I'm going to buy this. And that's when I first saw that crane, and that crane was looking right at me. And then as soon as I said that, it just took off flying majestically. It was awesome. So, hey, thanks for touring with me today. For those of you that have watched, I really appreciate you. Thanks to all of my clients that have made this possible, and family and friends and supporters, and those that have referred business, or those that are just, rooted me on. And you have made me JJ, the CPA, and it's been an awesome ride. And here's basically until I breathe my last breath on this earth, I will be JJ the CPA. And I'm very thankful for that. So, all right, 23 years. Boom! Don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. All right, hey, love you all. Thanks so much for watching. And depending on when you're watching this, either way, have a great rest of your day.